Somebody asked me the other day, what's it like, 20 years? And I said, you know, at my age, 20 years goes by so fast that it's hard to really put it into perspective. But it has been good, and as I thought about this occasion and the opportunity that I would have to address you, I thought about many different things that I might share. And I've decided to share with you 5 things that we've learned over these past 20 years. 5 very important things about human and economic development. And how service results in friendship. And how friendship begets peace in our world. Those 5 things that we've learned are as follows. First, Global Volunteers only goes where we're invited. Now, we're invited to many places and we cannot accept all of those invitations. And today we're invited in many different ways. In fact, the internet has become our primary source of invitations from people around the world. The second thing that we've learned, second basic principle, is that we always work under the direction of local people. That is sometimes difficult for North Americans, particularly results-oriented folks that want to get something done, and local people may have other things in mind. I recall a time, for example, when I was leading a team in Mississippi, in Jonestown, Mississippi, and we were building a community center. And the floor had been done, and we were about to build the stud walls. And Mr. Brown, in his mid-70s, was the local foreman, under whose direction we were working. And he came over, and he took a piece of chalk and drew a line in the center of the floor where he wanted, he told us, the main door. He said, I want the door in the center of the wall, the main wall. And he turned and walked away, and so I went and got a tape measure. He wanted it in the center, I was going to put it in the center. I went over and got a tape measure, and it must have caught him in the corner of his eye, because he came back and he asked me, he said, what are you doing? And I said, I'm trying to find the center. And he said, I showed you where the center was. I said, yeah, but he said, did you go to college? And I knew by the way he asked the question that I shouldn't make much about this, and I simply said yes, and he said, you know, I thought so. My brother, he went to college and he don't know nothing either. Over time you learn that when you say you're going to work under the direction of local people, that means you work under their direction. It really didn't matter where the center of that door was. It was just where he wanted it to be. But under the cloak of darkness that night, I went back and I measured it anyways, and it was only off by about 2 inches. The third principle that we operate under is that we work on community-based projects. Only projects that will have wide effect upon a community. The community decides those projects, but it's important to us that they will have a positive effect on the community. The fourth principle is that we do whatever it is we're asked to do. We have no agenda, and consequently, as you've seen from the video, we do lots of different things. We build schools and health clinics and community centers. We care for children, both infants as well as others that are abandoned or orphaned. We provide health care assistance. We teach a variety of subjects. But in the early years, we just built things. Community centers, health clinics, schools, maintained or repaired them. We did a lot of painting. And I recall in 1990, when I first went to Poland, and I was speaking with a prospective host leader, a gentleman by the name of Gabriel Janowski. He was the president of Rural Solidarity. That was the the rural side of worker solidarity, which was headed up by La Cloenza. And I explained to Gabriel, much as I'm explaining to you tonight, the principles that we operate under, that we'll do whatever it is we're asked to do, and we'll always work under local leadership. And when I finished, he said, I'd like you to come and teach English to the students in rural Poland. Well, we had never taught English. We didn't have any idea how you would teach English, particularly on short-term programs, 2 or 3 weeks. I told Senator Yanofsky that, and he said, but you just got done telling me you do whatever it is you're asked to do. So realizing I was in trouble, I quickly said, well, you know, I could not guarantee that all of our volunteers would be English teachers. And he thought about that for a moment, and he said, yeah, that's all right. So I quickly added, you know, I can't even guarantee that all of our volunteers would be teachers. And he thought about that for a moment, and he said, you know, that's okay too, but all your volunteers will speak English, won't they? And that is how we started teaching English around the world, and we now teach conversational English in 12 countries. And because we work under the direction of local people, we do it 12 different ways. The English is the same, but the process that we use is different because the local people make that determination. And the fifth principle is that we always work hand in hand with local people. It's important to us that if a community invites us to come and build a school or help with a clinic, and they ask for 8 or 10 volunteers, there'll be at least 8 or 10 local people with whom we work. And who those volunteers are, who those local people are, varies. Sometimes they're local teachers, sometimes they're local healthcare professionals, sometimes they're community volunteers or members of the village leadership. Sometimes they're even folks from the local prison or jail, folks that get out on work release program. And when I say that, I'm reminded of a program that we have in the United States, virtually in all African American community where we're proud to be able to serve. And one day the community host was explaining to the team that that day a couple of fellas from the local Huskow, from the jail, were going to come and participate. They were on work release, they were doing community service, and I don't know if you've ever been in jail, but if you can get out, you want to do that, and these guys wanted to do that, and so they came, but one of our volunteers there that day missed that meeting. She wasn't there for the briefing. And so when they came, they were wearing their jail uniforms, bright orange jumpsuits with green stripes down the sleeve and down the trouser leg. And the volunteer who missed the briefing, when she was introduced to them, said to one of the fellas, "That's a really nice outfit." He didn't know what to say, so he just said, "Thank you." And she said, "Where'd you get that?" And he said, "At the lockup." And she said, "Is that in the mall?" It's important to us that we work hand in hand with local people, because when we do, we become friends. Friendship actually occurs fairly quickly when you're working alongside someone. But what happens also is that we discover that we're far more alike than we are different. That we are far more alike than we are different. The differences are many. How we worship the Creator, the color of our skin, our ethnicity, the language that we speak, our overall culture, the economic system of our countries, the political system that we are governed by. But when we become friends with someone, we discover that we are far more alike than different, and in fact, those differences become cause for celebration. They become cause for celebration. President Jimmy Carter, in his acceptance speech for the Nobel Peace Prize, said recently that while war may be inevitable, it is always evil. It is never a good. What Global Volunteers recognizes is that if we can bring people together who discover that we're far more alike than we are different, and we can discover that we can be friends, that we can in fact realize peace in the world. If enough people spend their time and energy and effort providing service around the world, if enough Americans do that, I can guarantee you that the image of Americans, for what we genuinely are, caring, generous people, that image will have great currency. But more importantly than that, we and the people we serve will be friends. And friendship is the foundation for world peace. This is something that you and I can do together. And so tonight, on this wonderful evening, for all of us associated with Global Volunteers, I call on you, those of you who have already served and those of you who haven't, to decide that you would like to wage peace by promoting justice and building friendships. Because if enough of us do this, we can realize peace in our time. Thank you very much.